Hey everyone, Vicky here. If you're watching this video, odds are you're on your way to the island of Skiathos, or you're thinking about going there on your holiday pretty soon. I thought I'd make this video because we've been as a family now to Skiathos twice. Once in 2023 at the back end of the summer, so August into the start of September, and then we went back last summer in 2024 in July. If you haven't been to Skiathos before, it's one of those places that's commonly referred to as a boomerang island, where people go back year after year, and going there ourselves and then feeling the need to return can definitely agree. And I'd put it down really to three main areas. I would say it's the combination of its accessibility, its natural beauty, and the overall vibe. It's an island that feels really authentically Greek. It's obviously very popular with tourists, but it doesn't feel too touristy and too commercialised. It still has that fishing village type feel, lovely beaches and amazing hospitality. So I'll share with you some tips, some things that we've done that I'd really recommend, and tell you a little bit more about the island. I'll show you where Skiathos is on our world map, but Skiathos is a small northern Greek island in the northwest Aegean Sea. It has one of the smallest commercial runways in the world, which we'll get to in a little bit, and the whole island is around 12 kilometers long, with the main hotels, beaches and restaurants all located on the south side of the island. There's another small island nearby as well where you can visit on a boat trip from the old port, and another gorgeous beach on the north side of the island, which is the famous Lalaria beach. Now, we didn't get to go there the first time round, but when we hired a boat on the second year, we went there and it's absolutely amazing. It's really easy to travel around the island, with there essentially being one main road and bus stops the entire way across the island. So bus stop 0 is at the old port in Skiathos town, and it goes all the way to bus stop 26, which is Koukanara's beach. The first year that we stayed in Skiathos, we stayed in the old town just by bus stop 0, and then on our second time in Skiathos, we stayed in Troolos, which is just by bus stop 18. Both times we went, we absolutely fell in love with the island, its natural beauty, the food, the venues. The staff are just fantastic there as well. Like I said before, it really does feel authentically Greek, and the locals are just amazing. Whilst it's a small island, there's plenty to see, and I always think planning ahead will really help to make sure that you get the most out of your trip and going there. Luckily for us, my mum had done a lot of research and a lot of planning into the holiday before we went, and I thought I'll compile everything that we know into this video to hopefully save you some time and to give you some ideas, because we honestly just had such an amazing time there that it'd be wrong not to share it. Starting out to this guide, we'll cover the Skiathos town. This is where you'll find a collection of hotels, but also most of the island's bars and restaurants. It's also got the new port and the old port, and also where the ferry comes in as well, if people are coming from some of the larger islands or on day trips. Most of the activity is around Papadiamanti Street, with lots of shops, bars, restaurants, and quick food stops as well for food like gyros and souvlaki. In my opinion, the best place for drinks that we went to is a place called Goldfish. Shout out to Pandy if you're watching. He was there both years as our host and really looked after us. But we honestly had such a good time there. We'd go, I wouldn't say we went every night, but we definitely went there quite a lot. Really enjoying those cocktails and make sure that we got the most of the happy hours while we were there. From memory, I think most of them do happy hours probably around 6 or 7 o'clock until around 9 p.m. At that point then the drink prices will increase. I wouldn't say Skiathos is the cheapest place that we've ever been to. There's definitely some affordable spots, but it can get quite pricey quite quickly. So if you do enjoy having drinks in the evening and going out for cocktails, I'd say you absolutely want to make the most out of the happy hours and the bars around the port. Really pretty setting as well as the sun sets and it gets dusky, and obviously you are quite close as well to the airport, so you can see the planes taking off and landing as you're enjoying some drinks by the sea. Some small things to recommend. I think ice cream in the old town is best from the Mamma Mia cafes. I'll try and overlay with some videos. And if you're looking for a later night bar with a lot of atmosphere, We absolutely love the Blind Dog Bar that's run by Zoe and Danny. They do live music every night. We ended up going there quite a lot. It's one of my mum's favourites for sure. And honestly, it was just such a good time. They run an amazing venue. Really lively. There's plenty of seats as well, but everybody is up on the dance floor and having an amazing time. Then as well in the old town, there's a small island between the old and the new port called the Bertsey. That has an old Venetian fort and a smaller platform as well on the other side, and you can go and swim there in the day, and it's got a nice view over the harbour. This is also where they have the Bertsey restaurant. We went there for my birthday meal the first time when I turned 25 in 2023. And I would say, look, the atmosphere is really nice. The food is definitely good. I probably wouldn't say it's the best meal that we've had on the whole holiday, but it is somewhere that I would recommend, and I really enjoyed going there. It's also a nice lunch spot during the day. So it's effectively slightly raised in over the harbour in a small pine forest. So where they have the tables for the food and the drinks, you're under a canopy of pine trees, and yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous there. So I'd definitely recommend either, you know, stopping there for some lunch, an evening meal, or just having a walk if you're around there during the day. Another thing to point out in the old town as well is that there's the open air cinema. That's absolutely brilliant. I think if you've been before, or if you haven't, in my book, it's just an absolute must. So we went there both years. My advice with the open air cinema would be to book in advance. So they typically show some current films that are out that year, but they always show multiple times throughout the week the first Mamma Mia film, obviously showcasing what the island has to offer as that filming location. You also get the hosts of the venue joining in, getting everybody dancing. There's some interactive moments, lights, really good audio. It's just such a fun vibe, and I think I'd really recommend that at the start of the holiday, just to really get you into the Skiathos spirit. You can also book loads of trips from the old port, and the water taxis go there as well. So if you're staying in the old port, one of the other ways to get around the island, especially to Kukanara's beach at the bottom and Skiathos on the other side of the, well, like a neighbouring island effectively, probably about 20 minutes away on a water taxi, is to hop on a boat. It's slightly dearer than the bus, but still really affordable, and it feels like you go on a little boat trip as well. You can also see some of the island that is less accessible on foot by boat too, and it can definitely give you some good ideas of where you'd like to see on the wider island. Food is a massive one for us when we go away. My mum did loads of research. Obviously, you can see the rankings of things on TripAdvisor, but expectations versus reality can sometimes be a little bit different, and I thought I'd highlight some of the best ones that we went to while we were there. So coming in probably at number one for us is the Final Step restaurant. That is an absolutely gorgeous location. There's a couple of ways that you can get to the Final Step restaurant, but it's effectively slightly up the hill in the main Skiathos town. It comes out to an observation point over the port and over the town, where they have the lighthouse. And I think there's also in the first Mamma Mia film, where Sophie's sending out the letters to her potential dads, that's where the post box was effectively. So you can go there, and Final Step is literally next door. Now the food there is honestly so good. I really enjoy this this feta recipe. I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, you definitely need to go there. It is a place that you need to book in advance. I think we actually booked the table before we actually went to Skiathos. I think my mum got it in advance online. Reason being is because, you know, if you want to be the closest to the edge and looking over the sea and really enjoying the view, those tables get booked up quite far in advance. So definitely ring ahead to avoid disappointment. Then we have 1901. Annoyingly, I didn't actually get videos at 1901, but it's quite a romantic restaurant. It's on a little side street where they have tables kind of going up and down on the fork of a road, and 1901 itself is like in the corner nestled between the 2 rows of tables. They do phenomenal pasta. My dad had a pork tomahawk as well the first time that we went, and that was a really enjoyable meal that I definitely recommend. It can be a little bit tricky to find, but if you put maps on your phone or if you ask around, the locals will definitely be able to point you there. Again, that is one that books up quite far in advance, but if you get there slightly earlier in the evening or later at night, you also have a chance at getting a walk in as well. Then Lo and La was another place that we went to. We actually tried to go there the first year, but it had closed. I don't really know why. But when we went there, it was all closed up. So we felt the need to go back the year after. That was actually where we had our final meal on the last night of our holiday. And that was really, really good. Good quality pasta dishes, nice sauces. That is set slightly further back at the bottom end of the port. There's like a slight slope that takes you up in a series of restaurants that look out over the bay. Now, that's a really nice setting, good quality food. I definitely recommend there. My other 2 favourites are Scala. We found that more or less by accident on our first year, and we went back twice, and then we went back again in 2024 just because it was so nice. I had a really good pasta while we were there. Also in the town that I'd recommend is a restaurant called Secret Garden. Really high quality food and quite a romantic setting, literally in a secret garden that's tucked away off the main street. And then outside of town, we had a really good meal in Oregano in Trullos. That's under fairy lights and by a poolside. And then for smaller things, we'd also recommend, we went for a gyros at a place called Gyro Nemo, just up from Trullos Beach, and we thought that was really good. Another place for food as well that we really enjoyed, but also one that I'll talk about in more detail in terms of more experiences, was Crazy Rooster. Now that is I would say you don't go there as much for the food, but more the atmosphere in the evening. That was super fun, and I'd really recommend that one as well. That's just by bus stop 15. All across the island of Skiathos, there are a series of absolutely beautiful beaches. Now, some of them are similar, some of them are completely different. I think they all have slightly different things to offer and different vibes, but I'll take you through the ones that we enjoyed the most and where I'd say you definitely don't want to miss. One of the most popular beaches in Skiathos is Itinerary beach. It backs onto a pine forest, and it's one of the biggest beaches on the island that's accessible by bus. I'd say it's a more lively beach with some restaurants, bars, and sunbeds that you can rent. There are also some water sports at the bottom as well. There's a small port where the water taxi pulls up and you can get a range of different things. I did see one year some more like banana boats and things like that as well. So, you know, if you are looking for a slightly livelier beach day, I think you'll definitely find it at Itinerary. There's quite a lot of music playing as well, and lots of places that you can stop for refreshments, and they do have public facilities as well in terms of bathrooms and a couple of showers. Now, the bus will take you directly there, but like I said before, you can also get the water taxi that goes from the port back to the old harbour as well. One of my favourite beaches in all of Skiathos is Skiathos Beach. Now, I've seen a lot of other videos and I don't see Skiathos being spoken about, in my opinion, anywhere near enough. I think it's a nice blend of several beaches. It does have that kind of beach bar and that Itinerary feel with a bit more music, but it's also a slightly more chilled, relaxed beach that, you know, you can rock up to. You could be there for a few hours, or you could spend the full day there. In terms of facilities, there's several bars and restaurants, including one called the Beach House. Now, we've had drinks there and the food also looked pretty good. It has a large outdoor seating area underneath a canopy, so it can offer you a little bit of shade as well if you want to get out of the direct sun. It's a really pretty beach. I'd say whilst the south side of the island is more sheltered and the water isn't too choppy in general, Skiathos is slightly more sheltered into the island than some of the others. So if you get there in the morning, one of my favourite things was how still and flat the water was. It has a really glassy look to it, almost like a lake. And both years we actually did our boat rental from GR Rentals there. Really good guys. They also rent out wider equipment like paddle boards and things like that. So I definitely recommend going to see them if you're thinking about renting a boat whilst you're there on the island. Now, I always mispronounce this one, so don't come for me, but one of my other favourites is Skiathos. I'll have absolutely butchered that, but I'll put on how it's spelled in the video. But that is an island, actually, that's just opposite the main port of Skiathos that's accessible by boat. So you can get a water taxi from there, morning until the early evening. It's probably around 20 minutes to half an hour's sail from memory. And you can get there pretty much any time of the day. It's a small island. They drop you off at the main beach, and there's a mix of a free untouched beach area and some beds in the middle. Now, there's only one real place to buy food and drinks, so if you're planning a day there, I definitely recommend to bring a cool bag with whatever you need, you know, plenty of drinks, some food if you don't fancy buying it when you're over there. You can also take a hike and look at some of the wider island. It's a little bit uneven underfoot, but has some absolutely gorgeous views. You can look down on the beach from a height, and we also found this little Greek, I'm not actually sure what it is, potentially a hut or some sort of observation point on one of the cliff edges, which was absolutely gorgeous. So I definitely recommend having a look there. Other beaches to mention, there's also the Monastery beach, which is more easily accessed by boat, but it's slightly off the beaten track. There are a couple of others as well. There's actually quite a lot, but there's also Big Banana Beach, which gets good reviews too. That's by bus stop 26 and a slightly further walk out. There is also Castro Beach, which you can get to by car, and a series of others. Virtually every bus stop on the island after you get away from, say, bus stop 5, most of them have beaches the whole way down. So no matter where you're staying on the island, there'll always be beaches and things in walking distance, but those are definitely some of my favourites. I'll also talk you through some of the activities and trips that we did whilst we were in Skiathos. I think whilst it is a relatively small island, there's just so much to do, so knowing what's out there a little bit ahead of time can mean that you get the most out of it and, you know, help you see as much of the island as possible. So my favourite activities that we've done so far, I would say the Crazy Rooster party night, which runs every Monday and Thursday, is absolutely excellent. You shouldn't miss it. It's by bus stop 15 with a small walk up the hill, probably around 10 minutes or so, and the signs the whole way up so you can find them. Now, Crazy Rooster, I would say, I think it's actually a hotel during the daytime, so there's a pool area and then all different seating. It's in a small pine and olive grove, which is really pretty. It has all fairy lights around it, and we went for the Greek barbecue night, which honestly, it was just fantastic. So it's music and dancing. It starts more traditionally Greek. We have the host and the staff getting everybody up off the tables after we've had food. We went there with my cousins who were a little bit younger than us, and they all had a great time. It's really family friendly. You have people, you know, of all ages, kind of retirement age down to literal babies. Everybody was having a great time. At the end of the night, it's probably the worst kept secret ever, but everybody does tend to jump in the pool. Now, when we were going to Crazy Rooster, I was saying, I'm not gonna jump in the pool. I'm not gonna jump in the pool. Newsflash, I jumped in the pool. Now, my top tip and recommendation for Crazy Rooster would be to bring a towel and bring some extra clothes, because as much as people say they're not going to go in, you end up going in. And if you bring some stuff, at least if you don't go in, you're prepared. And if you do go in, then you're not soggy for the rest of the night. Honestly, it's worth going in. You really need to. This is me in the pool right now. Then whenever we're on holiday, a boat trip for me is always one of the absolute highlights. So if you're a fan of Mamma Mia, there's a Poseidon boat that goes from the main port, and it can take you on a tour to several filming locations all around Skiathos and in some of the neighbouring islands as well. So that includes the church from the first film over towards Skiathos. You walk up the same steps that they do. I think it looks more intimidating than it is really. Most people can get up there in around 10 minutes and it's a stunning view at the top. It also takes you to the main Skiathos island for a look around. You can grab some lunch there and also have a look through the shops and some of the narrow cobbled streets. And depending on the wind levels, they'll take you over to the north side of the island as well, which is something that you can't really access on public transport. Now, it could go to Lilaria Beach if it's one of the larger boats and the conditions on the water are good. Now, that is the really famous, beautiful white pebbled beach with the stone archway, crystal clear waters. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you do go there, I'd say it's a very exposed rocky beach. The water's beautiful, but there are no facilities and no shelter there. So I'd recommend bringing along some Crocs or some water shoes so it's easier underfoot, and make sure you take plenty of sun cream with you as well. Our trip didn't actually go there because of the conditions, so instead they took us to Castani Beach. That's also really pretty, and it's one of the filming locations in Mamma Mia, where Sophie and Sky sing Lay All Your Love on Me. Again, that's quite a stony beach, but very, very pretty. If you fancy something less commercial, I would say you have two real options. One of them is that you can get a boat charter, so a catamaran or more of a sailing boat from the main port. They're usually for groups of around 8 people with a captain that will look after you for the day. Some of them have really all-encompassing packages as well, so they'll have snorkeling gear, they can take you all around, alcoholic drinks, soft drinks, and fresh food as well throughout the trip. Those are usually a lot more expensive. From memory, the Poseidon boat trip is around 35 euros a person, whereas if you take one of the smaller charters, they're normally around 100 or so euros a head, but I believe people do get quite good value out of those as well. Or you can do what we did and be your own captain for a day. So it's something that we did both years, and we decided that we wanted to rent our own little boat. You can do this from most beaches. I think you can also get boat rentals from the old port as well, but our trusted friends were GR Boat Rentals from Kolios Beach. I'll put the contact details in the description, but you can go down there and see them in person and just book for a couple of days in advance. They'll advise you on when the water conditions are the best for sailing, but I'd say either contact them before you go or get yourself there relatively early on. It depends how long you're staying. If you're there for around a week, I'd say you want to try and get all your things booked in pretty much day 1 or day 2. If you're there for 2 weeks, obviously you've got a little bit longer. Now, a great free activity, in my opinion, is heading down to the airport to watch some of the takeoffs and landings. Now, like I said before, it's one of the shortest commercial runways in the world, so you're getting massive planes landing on a very small strip of tarmac. It's really exciting to watch. People of all ages seem to enjoy it. Great activity for young children, but I'm probably a big kid myself, but I really liked it too. There's a lot of power behind the jets, and it's a real experience to stand behind them. Now, if you're going to do this, heed my words. When you go there is yellow painted cross hatching on the floor on the tarmac behind where the planes go. Stand behind there. Now, they say it for your own safety. The jets are unbelievably strong. From standing there myself and looking at my camera now, because I'm pretty sure there's still some sand grains behind my lens, it is unbelievably powerful. If you're standing too close, you can get blown over, you can get hurt, you can lose stuff. Just keep your distance. It's still just as enjoyable, and especially if you've got young children, please don't take them so close to the plane. But it's really, really fun. I'd say it's like hot sandpaper, so I'd definitely recommend, keeping your sunglasses on. If you are wearing hats, hold on to them tight because it's just so powerful. If you want to be a little bit further back from the sandblasting, there's also a small bar on the water on the way up to the runway. It's like an old windmill, really cute. You can grab yourself a mythos and watch them take off and land. A really fun, unique experience that I don't really see in many other holiday destinations. And it's pretty easy to get to. It's probably about 10 minutes walk away from bus stop 0. And like I said before, it's free. So for most of this video, I've talked around, how you can access the island, mainly on foot or by bus. But there are plenty of areas on the island that are worth seeing that you can only get there on set of wheels. So either by getting yourself a taxi or through renting some of the really affordable services, either quad bikes or cars. Now, we did a hire car for a day. I think it was 2 days potentially, and that was a really, really good value for money, around 50 euros a day. So we took our Mighty 4 Fiesta around the island. The car rental was really useful. It was only 50 euros and they actually dropped it off for us at a hotel as well. At the end of the rental, we just dropped it back off in the main town and left the keys in the shop. Now, with the car, we went to visit the dog shelter, which is run by volunteers, and you can play with the dogs and walk them. Just make sure that you arrive in the early morning so you're able to take them out. But we, as dog lovers, absolutely adored it. It was so nice to go there. It's ran, honestly, so well, all by volunteers and charitable donations. So, you know, if you are an animal lover, I'd say obviously there's a lot of cats out on the island, but this is a home just to look after the dogs on the island. And what's really lovely as well is that quite a lot of them had found homes to go to for later in the year. And if you are looking to adopt a dog, honestly, I think there's no better place. You know, the dogs there are so nice. There's all sorts of types, and it was just a really enjoyable day for us. After that, we went over to the monastery. Now, that was actually one of my favourite places to see. We went there the second time round, so in 2024. It's so peaceful and beautiful. You can walk around the grounds. It has a small shop where you can buy jams and honey made by the monks as well. And I'd really recommend going to see it if you want to feel like you're engaging in slightly more of the cultural, traditional side of Skiathos. If I was going for a week, my ideal week, and I'll load over some pictures and some videos so you can get into the vibe, but I'd start out probably with a chill pool day on arrival, walk into the town in the early evening, get some drinks, book in at some of the restaurants, book a boat trip as well if you fancy it. The ones that I would really recommend would be Secret Garden, Scala and Final Step, but there are loads more too. We've definitely not been to all of them yet, but honestly, I think the food and the venues there were just fantastic, and I would definitely go back the next time I'm there. One of the earlier nights in the trip, I'd probably grab a gyros and a souvlaki and go to the open air cinema, and then I would absolutely head to Blind Dog. Now, Blind Dog was one of the absolute highlights of our trip. Zoe and Danny are a couple there that own the venue, and they do live music every night, singing, everybody's dancing. Honestly, it's just so much fun. So I'd get myself there, in reality probably more than once. Then I'd have some beach days, go to Itinerary and Skiathos beach, and I'd also get myself to one of the party nights at Crazy Rooster. I personally love the plane watching at the airport. There's something a bit different, and if you are feeling more adventurous on the trip, I would definitely do the hire car and go over to the monastery. Seeing the dogs as well is so fun. If you have the car for the full day, I would say in the morning, get yourself to the dog sanctuary, nice little walk around the forest, then over to the monastery, and then in the afternoon you could potentially go to one of the beaches that's slightly further off the beaten track. So with that, that's my summer guide to Skiathos. See, it's such a diverse island and so much to see, so I definitely haven't covered everything there, but I think if you do what we did, honestly, we just had the most amazing time. I'm sure you will absolutely love it. If you have been before as well, please feel free in the comments to let me know what are your favourite places on the island, or what would you recommend for somebody that's going for the first time. There's just so much to see. I want to say as well, you know, thank you to everybody out there that was so lovely with us. The Greek hospitality out there is second to none, and they made sure that we had an absolutely amazing time. And I'm very jealous if you're going this summer, because we're not. So have a drink for us, and we'll see you in another video.